Hi guys, how's everyone doing? Happy Saturday afternoon. You're tuned in to Vibin with Ashley Live. Today I have a really special show for you. I'm really excited for everybody that's in the room right now because we have the legendary Nelson Cade III. And something cool about Nelson is he was on NBC's hit show The Voice, and he was on Team Legend. That's why I did those legend quotes. So very excited to have him. He's a singer, songwriter, and guitarist, and I'm going to invite him into the room. So I'm just sending him a note right now. Join my live. Okay, so he should be in the room momentarily. Justin, thank you for joining me today. Thank you guys, I appreciate you. Hi Charles, welcome. Hello, happy Saturday everybody. We're just waiting for Nelson to join the room. And there he is. Hey, Nelson. Okay. Hi, Nelson.
Hello.
I love your little walk-on.
Thank you. I had to press the button.
So I was just introducing you to the Vibin with Ashley Live family. You are on season 18 of NBC's hit show, The Voice. And I'm so very grateful for you to be on this show and for you to tell your story. And for people that don't know who you are, just to get to know you on a different level. So how you doing today?
Ooh, today is a good day. There's a lot of time trying to sift the thoughts in my head into like cohesive lyrics, but I'm just trying to get things out at the moment.
Yes. Well, I'm so happy we're on because anything that you need to get out creatively, like whatever, this is like your therapy session and your way to just talk to us and let us know, what you've been up to since we last saw you on The Voice. So let's start from the beginning. You're from Orange County, California. And what age were you when you first got into music?
Oh man. I believe I was either 6 or 5 when I first started piano lessons. I remember asking, no, there was, it's all coming back. I went to a private Christian school, and I would say like K through 10th grade, it was probably like 200 students. It was not a big school. And every Friday we would all get together and we'd have like chapel, and this one kid could play piano. And so because of that, we got to go and like sing Christian songs and everything. And in my first grade mind, I'm thinking, wow, I don't have to be in class doing math for like an hour just because this one kid can do it. I want to do that. I want to be that guy. So yeah. I asked for piano lessons, and my dad's like, all right, cool, I'll pay for piano lessons, but if you start, you're never allowed to stop. I'm like, I'm like 6. I don't know what commitment is. I'm like, yeah, sure, whatever, let's go. And that's when it all started, and I hated it. Oh my God, I couldn't stand piano lessons. And I would say 3 years went by, and then it just completely 180 degrees. You couldn't get me off of a piano. It was like the best thing.
Do you still play?
Oh, absolutely. Yes.
Mm-hmm. Awesome. Just because we know you as a singer and guitarist, so I'm sure people want to know, like, oh, he still plays, or, he did play, or that's really a really cool thing. So was it a specific person or situation that inspired you to get into music?
I mean, it was just the idea. It sounds kind of funny saying it out loud, but it was the idea that I could be that guy that got other people out of class for a few minutes. That's what made me want to do it in the first place. Then, I don't know, moving from there, like I got to that 3-year mark. That was the magic number for me. Around 3 years, I really started liking it for myself and my own reasons. And it became a huge part of my identity. And guitar started around the time where piano started falling out of my life. I had ridiculously less access to the instrument itself for a while. It was a really sudden shift. So because of that, I was like, I need something. And guitar showed up. It was great. It worked.
Yeah. And you taught yourself how to play guitar, right?
Yeah, I used to walk back and forth from school. And I remember, just thinking if I could just figure out how to play a G chord, I know how to use it. So I already knew music theory at that point, and I was just trying to teach myself the actual ins and outs of the instrument. And it was a slow burn, but I got there eventually.
Mm-hmm. So, what song do you wish you wrote and why?
Oh man, the song that I wish I wrote. I love that question. I have always been into, I don't know if obscure music is the right way to put it, but mainstream is cool. It does what it's supposed to do. But I like, looking underneath what's like given to us. I like
Of course.
old songs or songs that just aren't ever going to see really the light of day. There's
Right.
something that 21 Pilots wrote called Truce.
Mm-hmm.
It's the last song on their album Vessel. I mean, it's one of those songs where I think about legacy. I think about the kind of things that people are going to leave behind. And if I left something like that behind, I would be really proud of my entire career, regardless of what other accolades I accumulated and whatnot. Like, that song is beautiful. That's one of those songs where it's like, I guarantee you somebody's life was saved because they listened to that at the right time.
Mm-hmm.
It's those songs. And I wish I wrote something like that.
And that's the last song on what album?
The album is called Vessel, I believe.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Amazing.
It's the one where it's like, I think it's both of their grandpas. I think it's their grandfathers. It's two old guys on the cover, but it's a great album. Everything on there is good.
So look out for the two grandpas, two old guys.
There you go.
So for the people that know you and have followed your career, they know the Stevie Wonder story. So a little bit about this story is Stevie Wonder was in the audience at one of your shows, and he actually jumped on stage and played with you. I think this is unreal for a musician, just like for Stevie to be there and then Stevie to just come on stage. So for those people that haven't heard the story, and my apologies because I know you've told this story like 500 times, but just shed some light on the situation.
It's still surreal to me. So yeah, every Friday night I was playing at an Italian spot called Skylight. It's up in Westwood, near UCLA. Really
Okay.
Restaurant. And so I've been playing there for, I'd say, weekly for a year and some change. I was approaching the 2-year mark, and I mean, it was another Friday night just like any other to me. I played from 7 to 10. It's a nice little 3-hour set. So
Nice.
I was halfway through my set. The bartender comes by and puts a little note on the end table. I'm, mid-song, so I'm thinking to myself, it's something along the lines of turn it up, maybe turn it down, just adjust. Yeah. So I look down while I'm singing, and it says, Stevie Wonder is here. I was like, well then, that's right.
Wow.
Right. So I'm trying to keep composure. I'm looking around. I'm just darting, trying to figure out where he is, and I can't see him, which is freaking me out even more.
Yeah.
But I finished the song, and now I'm arguing with myself, because then that's when the horrifying thought comes in, what do you play now that Stevie Wonder is listening? And I'm just like, oh geez, what do I do? What do I do? So I was arguing with myself, and I'm like, don't play Stevie Wonder song. Don't play Stevie Wonder song. That's way too obvious.
Wait, do you think you had played a Stevie Wonder song before? I mean, how soon was it into your set that the bartender told you that?
Oh man, I mean, we're talking I was playing for at least 90 minutes before that bartender handed me the note.
And was he there the whole time?
I have no idea. I don't think so. I think he handed me the note shortly after Stevie came in. And one cool thing about Stevie is that he doesn't have the biggest entourage. I think he was there just enjoying dinner with his wife. That was pretty. There was a big, huge commotion, so I didn't notice anybody coming in.
Yeah.
And yeah, so I'm arguing with myself. I'm like, don't play Stevie Wonder song. It's way too obvious. And I'm just, okay, you know what, screw it. I'm just going to play Stevie Wonder song. So I played Isn't She Lovely, but I made it an instrumental. I'm like, I'm not going to sing. It's just an instrumental. It's going to be like a tip of the hat gesture. I'm a fan too. I think you're awesome. As soon as I'm done with that instrumental, I get a tap on the shoulder. This older guy introduces himself. He's like, hi, I'm Stevie Wonder's bodyguard, and he wants to know if he can play with you. And I'm like,
oh my God. God.
I mean, I wanted to cry right then and there because first of all, what are you gonna say? No, no, I'm sorry, you can't.
I mean,
oh,
what an honor for him to just be in the crowd and then say he wants to come on stage with you.
Yeah,
just brings it to a whole nother level that, oh my gosh, probably no one else has experienced as a musician, right?
It was unreal. I mean, I felt honored. I felt so special. I mean, it was just. And then just it continued into the moment. Like I got to meet him, I got to actually see what he, you know, I got to just enjoy a night with him. And you know, we're setting up his stuff. I get to walk him to where he's gonna sit and play. And you know, it's just me and him. And he's talking to me. He's like, "Hey, you know, we can play whatever you want to play. I heard you and I jam. Like, you know, you sound good. And I wanted to be a part of it." And I'm just like, he's over here trying to make me feel good about myself. Oh man, I will never forget that. He pulled out an instrument called a harpeggi. I'd never seen or heard of one before, but
Right.
you know that's Stevie Wonder for you, playing some new instrument that didn't exist like 5 minutes ago, and now he's a master at it. So it's like a guitar, but it has like 16 strings or something crazy, and you lay it down flat, and then he just plays it like it's a piano, and it was just mind-boggling. I mean, he's just going at it, and I'm just like, yeah, that sounds about right. Let's see what it was. A really
Unreal.
good
So
night.
he did. So did he do 2 songs with you that night?
Oh no, we played for like 40 minutes together. We literally ended my set together. He just chilled until it was like quitting time.
Oh
It
my
was,
gosh. Does anyone have that on video? Like, is there like, can we find that on YouTube or?
oh yeah, so there are clips that are on my Instagram. It went viral pretty quickly. It was actually kind of like this was the first time something like this has ever happened to me. So
Yeah.
before I even got home, I was getting texts from my friends talking about, dude, you're trending on TMZ. And I'm like, how?
TMZ. For a good reason, because most people when they trend on TMZ, it's like something bad, but you're like, whoa.
No, it blew up. It got everywhere. I got to be on the local news. I don't even know what you would search, to be honest, but if you were to search like Stevie Wonder and maybe my name, Nelson Cade III, I'm pretty sure you find clips, something. There were, I mean, so many. Once the word got out that Stevie Wonder was there, you could already see like an influx from all the other restaurants in the
Oh my
vicinity.
gosh. Yeah, because you think like, what if you were like 3 restaurants down? I was like, oh my gosh, I'd run right over there.
I'm with the owner of Skylight Gardens, and it was funny because after I had the conversation with this bodyguard that he wanted to play, you know, the owner comes over. He's like, "Oh my gosh, does he want to meet you? Like, you're gonna get to sit down with him?" And I was like, "Yeah, he wants to play." He looks at me, his face goes pale, and he's like, "I'll be right back." He goes and he calls his parents.
Oh my gosh. Yeah, because just for Stevie to walk in an establishment for a business owner is massive. But then like he wants to go on stage with the artist and play. Like, whew, oh my gosh. I wish I was in the crowd that
There were
night. That
people
would have just been
over the place. I mean, there were restaurants just emptying left and right.
right.
There was pretty much no walking room in the bar once we started going. I mean, we set up, we had to like cut our way through the crowd, and then that was it. It was just a sea of people, phones. I couldn't tell you where all the clips are because everybody was recording and everybody had the flashing lights and all of that was going on. But I mean, I was kind of already in my little corner of euphoria because
Now, capacity wise, how big is that venue?
capacity wise. I would say that the room itself, because it's like a full service restaurant. There's an actual dining area and then the bar. And then there's like additional seating, you know, where you could see and hear me from the bar. I would say the bar's pretty open. I'd say like 200, probably more. I am not good at like guessing.
Yeah.
I'd say like 200 people. That sounds about right.
But that's amazing. Just 200 people and Stevie's one of the people. What? What? Mind-boggling.
It was, and it's funny because looking back on it, I remember, you know, I listened to a lot of motivational things, you know, growing up, how to be positive and all of this stuff. And I remember a lot of different talks about like luck. And in this moment, I really like something kind of clicked. And it's like, luck has a lot to do with work. Lucky isn't you honing your skills at home, never putting anything out, and hoping that somebody just magically knows that you're really good and calls you and gives you an opportunity. Luck is grinding and doing it in front of people, you know, making it known. And it's like, if you are ready for the opportunity when it hits, then luck is just simply a hit. It's not this perfect thing. It's because you're ready for all these different things. Anything that comes your way is perfect. Like, I was at this place every week for almost 2 years. I mean, sure, it's lucky that he happened to walk by, but, you know, like, that kind of, you know, he would have ended up there or somebody else would have ended up there eventually. And if I wasn't doing it, it's like, where's the luck involved? You see what I'm saying? It
Yeah.
was,
And then like he could have showed up on a Saturday night, maybe at 6 p.m.
there you go. So
And did you always have that slot Friday night from 7 to
yeah,
10?
7 to 10, that's my thing. And when I get back to California, once COVID gets in order, because I know that Skylight's actually taking it really serious. It's one of the things I like about them.
Right.
I'm pretty sure I'll be able to do something with them again. I'm looking forward to that in the future.
Oh, that's going to be so amazing. Have you been back there since that incident?
Yeah, absolutely. That was way back. I want to say like May last year. So,
Okay.
I mean, it was crazy because came back. Actually, I think the immediate weeks following it, I had like prior engagements. So I had like a music festival that I had to go to, and then there was like a camping trip or something like that. So I wasn't there for like the 2 immediate weeks following it.
Oh, so people were like, "Oh, I want to see this guy that Stevie played with."
Right.
Yes.
But you know, you gotta follow other opportunities. I mean, I got contacted by a lot of different parties after that happened, which was really cool. That was all before the voice thing. So by the time it rolled into fruition, I mean, I was just like all the way off into a new kind of platform, which was really exciting.
Yeah, because it's incredible when something like that happens, like what direction your career goes in next, right? Because you're like, whoa, if that didn't happen, maybe I still would have, maybe people wouldn't have known.
It's
Just,
like you
but
just.
that,
This is why you have to love what you do. Because I mean, I would be lying if I said I want to do this for all of this fame and all of these random things. At the end of the day, I want to make music that I would want to listen to. And that's what keeps me doing stuff like this. That's what kept me doing it for a year and some change. I mean, I wasn't disheartened every time I did a gig and Stevie Wonder wasn't there or some like opportunity wasn't amazing. Like I
right,
went to play songs that I like and I got to just express myself and I got to like resonate with other people. Like I play a lot of music that I feel like isn't played a lot. Like there's one song that I think is a masterpiece called Starry Starry Night by the great American Don McLean. And I don't know if you would ever hear something like that on the radio anymore. I don't know where you would go to find that song. Like it exists if you look for it, sure. But when I play that at a venue or whatnot, I love it because it's like people are either paying attention and they don't know the song and they're just floored because it's that good. Or they recognize the song and they're just so confused because how do you know that? Why are you playing that? What's happening? Like it takes you back. Yeah. It's one of those songs. Like you probably remember where you heard it the first time. It probably means something to you. So I love doing stuff like that, regardless of who hears me, because at the end of the day, I'm doing it for me. It's what I want to do, and it's what I would do regardless of how any of the rest of this worked. So, yeah.
Awesome. So other than Stevie, what other musicians do you admire?
Oh, do I admire? Yikes. Okay, are we talking alive or just in general?
Everyone, dead and alive.
Ooh, buddy. Okay, well then we got to start at the beginning. My favorite of all time is Chopin.
Chopin.
Piano. I did
because you're classically trained on the piano.
Yeah, I did all the certificate of merit, music theory, all of that stuff, and I had to play a lot of music from Baroque era, classical era, romantic era. Didn't do a lot of impression stuff. I played some Debussy, but oh man, Chopin is one of my favorite composers of all time. And it's not even just his music; it's also his life. Like I probably more reports and like biographies on him than anyone else. If you learn about his life, I think that you would argue that he didn't really need to leave behind music the way that he did. Like, he did not have a good life, and he left so much beauty. It's insane. And I'm just like, what a testament to a soul, you know? Like, it's just,
of course.
It's so much hardship. Like, he knew what it was to be rich and then lost all of that. And spent most of his life knowing that this isn't what I should be dealing with. And then, so it was, he had a great life. I'm sorry, he had not great life, just had really good music.
Not a great life, but a great influence in you as an artist.
Absolutely. And I mean, he just wrote so many of my favorite pieces. Other musicians, I mean, I love Jimi Hendrix. I love Stevie Ray Vaughan, obviously. I love Clapton. There we go, Eric Clapton. Clayton, I don't know why. So
No, I heard clap. I heard clap, and I knew exactly who you were talking about.
I love 21 Pilots. I love John Bellion is like one of my favorite artists alive right now. He is, oh my goodness, I could listen to his music all day. I listen to his stuff on repeat way too much, but because like lyrically, I love wordplay, and he's so clever. Like consistently, all of his songs are just really fun because they mess with your head. Who else do I like? I really like. I'm thinking. I like George Gershwin.
Mhm.
I like when it comes to modern stuff, there's so much music that I haven't been introduced to. So a lot of mainstream stuff, like I'm aware of them, but I don't listen to them as much as probably most people. Like I
Right.
listen to a lot of like drops and electronic stuff.
Yeah.
Things that I really don't even know what their names are, like random
But
DJs.
nothing wrong with that, because as a musician, when you have that eclectic taste of music, you're like, oh my God, I really like this DJ. And
Yeah,
maybe you don't know the name of it, but, or the name of the DJ or anything about it, but then you're like, yeah, but like I could do the spin on the song and it sounds a little bit like that. So you can take other elements from different artists and bring it into your own.
absolutely.
Hmm.
Mm. I also like John Mayer. I love his music. Oh my goodness, he's written a lot of stuff. But yeah, I have my influences are like kind of all over the place.
Hmm. But there's so many great artists out there. So it's like, how could you choose, right?
You kind of have to just experience things, and then you fall in love with what resonates with you. Like I also really love Imagine Dragons, and
Oh my
probably
gosh, I love them. Love them.
yeah, they're awesome. Like one of my songs by them is actually more related to a video game than it is like mainstream music, but like
Right.
they wrote a song for one of my favorite video games. I love that song. It's so
Yeah.
cool. Warriors. So yeah.
Yeah, they're incredible. So I guess who would you most want to collaborate with other than Stevie?
Oh man, who would I most want to collaborate with? Um, I would really like to work with John Bellion.
Hmm.
Feel like that would just be insane. He just doesn't make bad music. I would like to work with um I would like to work with her. She's
Oh,
awesome.
she's amazing.
And I feel like we could complement each other like really well. That would be
Oh my
really
God, I would love to see that. That would be incredible.
oh yeah. my friend is posting he's right. Jacob Collier. Yeah, Jacob Collier and I
Yeah.
music way too much. I mean, he's a million levels above me, but still, though, like that would be insane. I can't imagine working with him or Daniel Caesar.
Right.
Oh, another good
Oh
one.
yeah, Daniel Caesar, definitely, definitely. So we talked about this previously, how you just love all different kinds of music. You have a very eclectic palette. You play everything from Nirvana to Bill Withers. What are a few songs that you like to play?
Oh man, I have a really weird rendition of Gravity by Air that I like playing. It feels good to play it. I like playing playing versus singing. There's one song that I like singing. It's called "The Judge" by 21 Pilots.
Okay.
It's not a song that's going to be on the radio, and I can't stand that. But every time I listen to it, I imagine it's super nerdy, but I imagine Mr. Freeze from Batman. Or backstory about how he's trying to save his wife and whatnot. And when you listen to the lyrics from The Judge, like it makes a lot of sense if you personify him. And yeah, it's a really fun song to sing. I love that one because most people haven't heard it. So when I play it, it turns heads because they're like, "What the heck is he doing?" And then it's a great sounding song. It feels good to sing. What else
Mm.
feels good to play? Yesterday by the Beatles. I love
Mm.
song. That's another one that just feels good on your fingers. Just
Yeah.
rolls. But yeah.
Awesome. So you've played everything from the downtown farmers market in LA to House of Blues in Anaheim. What other venues do you like to play at, or your favorite ones to play at?
Let's see. Venues that I frequent. The House of Blues was really fun. I'll never forget
Yeah.
that. Being in like the foundation room and everything. Such a classy joint.
Yeah.
I play at a couple wine bars in Orange County because it's close. There's one called Vino Nostra. I'm there a lot. They're who one thing that I care about a lot when I'm doing gigs, I mean, compensation, obviously, but more than anything is how they treat me and my party.
Of
So
course.
I I don't think I've ever had to deal with being treated, you know, in any kind of sideways manner. I've always been well received by the people that were supposed to take care of me. And I don't
Mhm.
know, just with Vino Nostra, with Skylight Gardens, I've always felt welcome. And I really appreciate it. I mean, more than anything, that's what can mess up a gig. Like if I show up and,
Totally.
you
They
know,
need to treat you like family. It's the same when you go to a restaurant. Like when I go to restaurants, it's like, oh my gosh, the people here are so nice. So as an artist, when they just bring you in and they embrace you and they're just like, well, what can we do for you? And how can we make this better? And, do we push this on our Facebook? And just all that love is amazing. And it's wonderful that they've embraced you like that.
yeah, Vino Nostra, Pally Wine Co. Think of other places. Those are like the ones that I frequent. I know that I've played a bunch more, but those are like one-offs.
Hmm.
It's been interesting. Like venues change. I've had some like interesting. I do a lot of weddings and private parties. Um,
Hmm.
I'm actually really proud of my weddings. That might be one of my favorite things to do. It's definitely the most nerve-wracking because like when you're doing a gig, as you get experience, you learn how all the different ways to control things. But when you're doing a wedding, you are totally not in control. I mean, just saying, there's a lot of factors that I just don't have any input in, and I have to totally react to them.
All right.
So,
So they say to you like, hey, we want you to play like these 20 songs.
sometimes, like I do. I mean, honestly, I'm kind of an all-purpose. So, like, there have been times where I've been hired for the cocktail hour. There's been times where I've been hired for the reception. There's
Hmm.
hired for just a ceremony. I've done all three, and I've done two out of three. So, I would say reception is, I don't know if I want to say my least favorite, but that's the most like a regular gig. You know, I'm just playing a lot of music. But the ceremonies are really, really fun because like it's my job to create a moment. And
Of course.
that's difficult. You know, that's an art form. Like that's part of
Right.
the craft. And consultation part because when they first reach out to me, they're like, "Hey, I want you to play, you know, my wife down the aisle or something, or we would love to see if you can play the wedding." First thing that I try to figure out is what exactly is it that you're asking because there's a lot of room for assumption. I want to know: are you wanting me to play guests in as they sit down, or
Right.
did you want to play for the flower girl or something? Is there a part of the ceremony that needs live music whereas the rest doesn't? You know, like let me understand where you want me to fit. And when it comes to the ceremony, a lot of the times I'm literally playing the wife walking down the aisle. I'm sorry, the bride walking down the aisle. And
Hmm.
I love it when they're asking, you know, we don't know what the popular wedding songs are. Like, what song would you recommend? This is my selling point. I'm like, all right, look, like the reason why I feel like you should hire me is because you don't need to care about what the wedding song is. Like, stop worrying about what's popular and stuff. What
Yep.
is your song? I don't care how unwedding like you think it is. I can weddingize it for you. I can arrange it so it is your moment. At the end of the day, it's going to be you. You invited all of these other people here to come see you guys have your moment, and I'm turning something into that. And my favorite version of it was I had that conversation with a young lady and she looked at her, you know, fiance and she's like, I mean, our song is, you know, we love Guns N' Roses. We love Sweet Child of Mine. And I'm like, all right, cool. I'm going to walk you down the aisle of Sweet Child of Mine. And they're
Yes.
like, okay.
Oh my God. Where is that video?
Um, I'm sure that they have it somewhere, but I
I'm
didn't.
sure.
That was one of my first weddings. And I
That's
mean,
so cool.
because I've been doing that kind of, that's arranging is something that you're going to be introduced to if you go deep into the classical world of hearing and whatnot. So
Definitely.
I've been doing stuff that was adjacent to that, but something that probably applicable was a little new. I was confident, but it was like it's exciting because I'm like, I know I can do this, but I haven't done it before. And
Right.
oh man, it came out so perfect. And I remember so many things about that moment. One, I remember that in the moment no one was looking at me. And I learned I was like, that's really important. When you're doing your job perfectly, making the moment, it should be an illusion. It should feel like you're an it should feel like you don't understand how things actually hit.
Hmm.
So that I thought it came off perfectly. I mean, like everyone was in a trance, and it felt so good. That one went really well. And then I had a few. I mean, most of my ceremonies have gone along the same lines. I did one where I played theme from Up, and
Oh,
then
that's so nice.
yeah, it was. And it can be impromptu. There was one where I they wanted me to play piano, and I didn't have one, and so I
Gosh.
figured out what I was going to play the day of, as I had like a couple of hours in the church to prepare. And that one went off without a hitch. I mean, it worked, but yeah, you do what you got to do, and it's always been fun. I love weddings.
Of course, of course. That's so cool. Like I could not imagine like Sweet Child of Mine, like just watching that and just hearing that rendition that you did. Like that just sounds so cool because I don't think of that as a wedding song or like walking down the aisle to it, but
Right?
hey,
No,
different strokes for different folks, right?
but what a cool way to like show people who we are, as a
Of course.
those people, and
Yeah.
it made it work. It was so much fun.
That's amazing. That's awesome. So we're in the middle of this crazy global pandemic. Um, how do you think live music and music in general is going to change because of all this?
Well, I mean, one thing that's going to be cool about this is that there's going to be a lot of music created from
Yeah.
this. All of the live musicians, instead of being out and about, have to be still. Um, we don't deal with stillness well.
No,
We move.
not at all.
So, um, there's I mean, even myself, like I have gathered all of this equipment and I'm trying to write my own stuff and teach myself music production and all of these things. And it's cool. I've always struggled with lyrics, so that's my holdup. But it the future of live music is going to be interesting. I mean, we have to figure out how distancing is going to work, which
Yeah.
that be the biggest deal. But it's more along the lines of audiences. Like it's easy for any venue to have enough room for the musician, but if you want to have 200 people there to watch him, it's like
Right.
they do that if it's inside. Now we have to figure out, how to have relatively the same kind of product with a sixth or a fifth of the audience, or everybody has to, be in the corners. Or I feel like there's going to be a lot of different creative ways. One of the things that I've witnessed personally is um, they took the entire dining room and they put it outside, like where cars used to park in the parking lot, and then
Right.
everything was super distanced and far apart, and I'm just like in the corner and I can play and everybody can hear me. And I'm like, yeah, this works. Like there's no main thoroughfares, everybody can
Right.
do it without being in each other's business. So that's going to be cool, and I'm hoping that a lot of places take the creative approach that they need to allow music to thrive, because it is, even in this crazy pandemic, music is still very much alive. It's got a heartbeat that I don't see slowing down soon now for something like this.
Right. And it's like we all miss going to venues and artists miss that energy and that environment that you get from the crowd. Like, how can you replicate that when you're in your house?
There's no other way to replicate that. Um,
Right.
Interesting. Like I'm super extroverted, so that feel when the audience is with me, I need that. Like
Yeah.
I completely live off of that. There are there are certain things like musically that I wouldn't ever dare to attempt to do unless I'm in that mindset. Like if I'm
Right.
in a bunch of people that are just in it with me, I'll
Right.
go for crazy stuff and I'll probably do a good job with it. But like much more low key. Like if I'm just in my room, you tend to play it safe. You don't have any frame of reference.
Right.
And
Because you're like in your room. Maybe you just rolled out of bed 2 hours ago and you're like, okay, well, like it's just me.
yeah, pretty much.
Totally. Totally. So I guess with music, um, if you could change anything about the industry, what would it be and why?
Oh man, if I could change anything about the industry, um, that one.
So many things, right?
There's um one thing that I would want to change is there's so many backwards things to the music industry, and I just wish that it was easier to, let's say, own the things that you create.
Yeah.
I also wish that I'm trying to be careful with my words here.
Right, because it's just you don't want to get in trouble. I totally get it.
No, it's something that I've dealt with personally. It's just like, you look at documentaries and you hear things and you start looking at how things work, and you have to, when you're you have to be very mindful of how you navigate the waters, so to speak.
Totally.
And I do wish that a lot of things were as simple as we made them out to be. That would be really cool. I feel like the allure of the industry would be so much more. Um, I wish that it was just as wholesome as like. I don't know how I would change that specifically, but that is the one that I wish I could do. I wish I could just make it wholesome the way that we all imagine it should be.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. So most recently, you were on season 18 of NBC's The Voice.
Yes,
Talk to me about that. What made you want to audition for The Voice? I mean, there's so many other shows out there, right, that you could choose. So, like, why did you choose The Voice?
So this one's a fun one about. I didn't choose this at all. I didn't even know that I was signed up.
What?
My girlfriend signed me up, and I didn't know about it. We do a thing where she's a photographer, so she'll want to go to LA to just take pictures of random things, buildings,
Right.
just that looks cool because she's got the photographer's eye.
Right.
And I will just I'll just blindly follow behind her with my guitar and just sing and play, and I'm content with doing that aimlessly for hours. So we do that a lot, like every weekend. And there was one weekend where we get in the car, we're driving to LA, and I'm thinking that's what we're gonna do. She drives me to the convention center, and I'm like, we're never over here. Like, what are you doing? She hands me some paperwork. She's like, all right, get up, go sing for these people. And I was like, all right, I guess.
Wow.
So, yeah, it was totally like a cold call kind of a situation. I didn't know that I was signed up. I didn't know that it was that day. I didn't know what I was gonna sing. Like I was completely at the mercy of the situation. I waited a long time. And I sang like 30 seconds of the song, and then the process started. And it was really, really funny because we had a the whole point that she signed me up for this was to teach me a lesson. It's like, you don't practice enough, and you need to you need to be more disciplined and stuff. So she wanted I would get like this reality check, like, you're good, but you need to do this so you can be a little bit better. And then I came back with a callback, and she's like, well, I mean, good, but supposed to practice. And then I go to the callback, and it's supposed to be the same thing. Like, you're good, but you're not supposed to. And then I come back, and it's like, I'm going further. And she's like, dang it, like, what's happening? Like, and it just kept on getting further. And then I turned 4 chairs, and she's like, I can't even be mad anymore.
But that's incredible though, because like with these shows, people stand outside of these convention centers for like hours and hours and hours waiting to get in and waiting to audition. So it's so cool that she pushed you and was like, you're doing this.
Yeah.
And then for all 4 judges to turn those chairs around. I mean, like, what does that even feel like when you're performing and you're like, oh my God, this judge and then this judge, and then you see all 4 judges' face and you're like, they all want me.
Oh, and I'll tell you this, it's both harrowing and humbling. I was leaning towards John for the longest time because I've always wanted the chance to work with John Legend.
Of course.
The way he sings, I love his persona. There's a lot of things how he holds himself that I really appreciate. So I was leaning towards him, and I remember a lot of times when we're with the producers and when we're with other higher ups of the show, and I really like how they handle the show behind the scenes. It's actually, it's really wholesome, which was really nice. They were saying a lot, even if you know who you want to choose, if you get the chance, keep an open mind. You probably not been in the same room as these people. You have no idea how you're going to relate to them. And I like that they kept on saying that because it's true. Even though I was leaning towards John, I'm not going to lie, I got really close to picking someone else. And that's something that I always wanted people to understand about me. I've worked so hard to make sure that it's super obvious, which is, me being eclectic. Like, I wouldn't be able to tell you what my genre is. I don't have a lane because I can't just shoot straight in that sense. Like, Bill Withers to Imagine Dragons, to John Mayer, to The Temptations, to Don McLean. It's like I'm all over the place and I can't help it. So when Blake said that you could run the gamut from, you know, Lead Belly to ZZ Top, and I can't, he's like, I wouldn't know where to put you. You can do all of this stuff. I'm like, for you to hear that off of listening to me do one song was
Right.
huge. I'm like, that is what I've always wanted people to understand about me. And usually it takes a whole gig for people to see that. So
Right.
I chose him for just that reason. But, you know, John used his block. And I mean, he told me that I didn't know this at the time, but I was the first person that he turned for.
Really?
Yeah, like when you're a contestant in the show, you're one of the last people to find out anything.
Mm-hmm.
The dark for a lot of things, and I like how they make it work though. It's really smart. I mean, it's how you keep everybody in the best mindset, because you don't want to go in knowing that the odds are stacked against you, or that this happened or that. Like, you want to go in focusing on just you, because you don't know anything else.
Totally.
When he told me that I was the first person he turned for, you know, he was waiting for someone to inspire him. I was like, well then, that's whole. That's
Oh
all.
my God. That's just like, whoa. But how many people do you think he saw before that?
I couldn't tell you. I have no idea.
Right.
Oh man, and it was like the whole experience overall was actually, like I said, it was really wholesome. Like, you know, there was never anything cutthroat about it. All the time that I was with other contestants, I mean, we were helping each other out left and right. It was a bunch of fellowship. We're all just enjoying each other's company. We're all, you know, caught up in the moment too. But I mean, there was so much cooperation going on behind the scenes. It was insane. It never felt like both a TV show and a competition. It always felt like one or the other.
Hmm. Interesting.
It was really.
So, other than, I guess, being thrown into this audition, right? What surprised you about the show?
What surprised me about the show? Um, a lot. I've never been that involved with television, so I tried to, you know, absorb and pay attention and experience, you know, everything.
Right.
And just, I really liked seeing how a lot of things work behind the scenes. Like, it was actually interesting, you know, to see how wardrobe works, to see how choosing a song works, to see how working with the band works. Like, I had a real, I'll talk about the band. Yo, there was a moment where we have our blind audition song. We've been practicing it with vocal coaches and whatnot, and now we're going to actually go into the room with the band, and we're going to rehearse with the band for the first time. So this is where, if we have some weird arrangement, we make it known to the band. We get 1 day to do this.
Oh my gosh. 1 day?
If you don't know your arrangement, you're playing what the band arranges for you. And if you do know your arrangement, I hope you can teach it to this band, who is world class. So as long as you can get them to understand it, you're good.
Oh God.
Into this room, you know, I say hi, everybody shakes hands and everything, and they're all really cool guys. And it was so funny. I get my guitar, and that's one thing that's interesting about the show. I didn't realize this at the time, but the choice to play your guitar isn't necessarily up to you.
Really?
At the end of the day, if you're going to play an instrument, it needs to be decided that you playing it adds more than it takes away from the performance. Because
wow.
For some people, it'll be a crutch. It's like a thing that you hide behind.
Right.
It can work with other things, but it's like, for what we're doing right now, trust me, you want to sing, just sing.
Of
So,
course.
when playing it, it was hilarious. You know, we do the countdown, 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, go, and I start playing, and it's just the train wreck. It sounded so bad in like 20 seconds, and we just all stopped, and I was like, I'm sorry, my bad. They were playing the original key, which is E flat, and I'm playing it like, I want to say like F sharp. So I was like, hey, my bad. Can we jump this up like a minor third, and then can we do this like 30 BPM faster? Because get like an old swing the way that it was written, and I'm like grooving, I'm moving with it. And
Yeah.
being able to speak their language was really nice. Like, saying up a minor third and, you know, this much faster, that's a lot of time. And it's like, guys, this caliber, that's like an instant transition. Everybody knows how to do that. Everybody is completely with me. 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, we go again, and it's just boom, we're all on the same page and we're just flying. I mean, it was so organic and it was so great. And I mean, I had a great time with them and just soloing, and then they asked me to play piano afterwards. I was like playing on their piano because I never get to play and that was just a lot of fun. I mean, I I really feel like I got to have as much fun as I should have, that I wanted to on the show, and I'm really happy about that. Like there
Mm-hmm.
were a lot of times that you should have been enjoying yourself, and I was around people that knew that did that, so it was cool.
Hmm. So you said from the beginning that you really wanted to go with John Legend, and then all four of them turned their chairs around, and you were like, "Oh, well, maybe I need to hear everybody out, right?" So I guess going back to John Legend, tell us that experience. What is it like working with him?
Oh man, working with him was, I mean, it's, I hate saying starstruck because it's like, come on, dude, you got to be better than that. But no, I totally was starstruck.
Yeah.
He
I
was
mean,
like,
I would be too. I'm sure everybody else would be too.
oh man, it was wild. But I do like his teaching style, very hands-on, and
Right.
he, like, I just, when it comes to arranging, he's got so much experience doing all of this stuff on his own if he needs to. So coming from this whole one-man band kind of thing, I could understand how he thinks to an extent. Because he plays with bands, he can play by himself, he can do all of this.
Of course.
I like being the guy who can do all of these things. So when we're working in the battles and whatnot, and when we were working in knockouts, and I got to do some stuff for lives too. There was just every time we were going back and forth, I really felt like I understood where it was coming from. I feel like I got the whole in between the lines, because when it comes to music, it's not ever going to be as simple as in you need to play this note, not this note. You need to hit this, not that. It's always going to come down to a feel. It's
Of
not
course.
easy to articulate how you're supposed to make people feel. How does this make you feel? It's usually like, it's in between green and blue.
Hmm.
That's an analogy that I can come up with it, but for whatever reason, I felt like we were kind of on the same string, so to say.
Hmm. So, what is, I guess, one thing that you learned from John? I'm sure you learned so much from him, but what's one thing that really sticks out for you?
Oh man, one thing that really sticks. That's actually, man, I'm trying to think of the one takeaway. There's so many. I've never
Yeah,
tried
I'm sure you could write a book on takeaways from John Legend. I'm sure.
one. If I was only going to give one takeaway from my time with him, I would say you got to think about. He was really good at backing up and looking at the big picture. He's definitely a big picture kind of a guy.
Right.
And it was, I would say specifically with my battle round, when we were doing Come Together, I remember how we initially approached it and how much he coached us through it because it changed a lot. And I would say that looking at it big picture and being able to understand how he wanted it to hit and come across, that was
Hmm.
the way. Look at a song, figure out what the feel is. How is it supposed to hit? Not necessarily how does it hit you, but even if it is how it hits you, you need to figure out how to turn that around and make a product that is going, like, it's got to make sense.
Of
It's
course.
really hard to describe, but after having experienced that transformation from where we started with that song to where we ended up, I mean, it was the coolest thing is at the end of the day, it really was Darius's and mine. It was, it was our take on it. Like he
Hmm.
coached, but it was not as simple as in hit that note, don't hit that note. It was never rigid and like overruling. It was guidance. That's why I really wanted him as a coach because I feel like he
Of
knows
course.
coach like that.
Definitely.
Just looking at that big picture, understanding how a song's supposed to hit. Keep in mind that feel the whole time. Don't lose that. I'd have to say that would be my takeaway.
Hmm. And what is your favorite John Legend song?
Oh yikes! Oh man!
I know, I know.
Ooh, I love ordinary people. I love all of me.
Yeah.
There's one that's called All Right. I love that one. That was so cool. All right. That one's really good. I love All Right with Me. But yeah, you know what? I'm gonna go with All Right with Me.
All
That's
right
probably
with me.
like
I
this
mean,
is really
there's so many songs that he sings that just hit you, and just his whole caliber of music and his whole library. You're just like,
Some Bigger
well,
Love, also ridiculously great, and a lot of it. Oh my goodness, he's got great tracks on there.
love it.
Like, I would love to see the making of a lot of these things because, like, you know, teaching myself music production, I'm starting to learn a lot of the jargon. I'm starting to actually computer stuff. Crazy, but it's still fun to work with.
Definitely. So if you couldn't do music, if someone said, Nelson, no, you're done with music, what other career path would you want to choose and why?
Oh man, it's funny because I spent so much of my life fighting music. I was going to be a chemist, and then I was going to be a computer scientist. I was kind of a programmer. I wanted to make video games. I thought, I know I don't look it, but there was a time where I wanted to be in the, like, football was my favorite sport. I thought I was going to be a receiver because I just loved catching the ball and then running. But I guess if all of a sudden, and I say this, no one could have a conversation with me, which would make me stop. Like, if it was, actually, no, I really don't know how I stop. Like, if I lost all of my arms and all of my legs, I'm still going to figure out how to, you know, play something with my mouth, I guess. But, like, I'm still going to do it's just like,
your mouth in your ear.
like, that's all I got. That's still what I'm going to do. But,
All right.
no, I could have seen myself doing something along the lines of making video games, or I know this is super nerdy, but I'm a very nerdy guy. There's a part of biology where you're doing a lot of cool things with like genetics and Punnett squares, and you're looking at alleles and whatnot. I think that I would have been good at that, like isolating different genes so we could do really interesting things with future generations and you know, with like animals and whatnot, and like make the perfect animal, and you know, animals that dig stuff like that, and you know, just really help out farms and whatnot. That kind of anyway.
Awesome. So what is the best advice that you've been given?
The best advice I've been given. Ooh, there's one piece of advice that is the reason why I survive stuff like somebody signing you up for The Voice without you knowing, and then being able to
But that's such a great story, though. It's such a good story.
And that advice is something that I got a very long time ago. I think it was my mom. I'm not sure, but I think so. And she was like, you know, you just need to always be ready. There was one summer where I thought I was going to have my first job, and I'll never forget this. I applied to like this clothing store, and you know, the interview went the way that most interviews do. Like, all right, cool. Well, thank you for coming in, blah, blah, blah. You know, like, what happens now? They're like, well, we're going to review everything and then we'll call you. Right. And so I spent the rest of my summer next to the phone because I didn't call. And it never occurred to me that, like, maybe they don't call you. Like, I always thought that it was just whether you get it or whether you don't get it, you're going to find out. Like, they're going to let you know, like, oh, sorry, but the position's filled or something.
Of course.
I never got a call. And I remember being all kinds of frustrated and flustered because I'm like, well, if they didn't call me today, they'll call me tomorrow or next week. Or there's always some excuse. And I remember how many things I didn't do because I was waiting on that call. And my mom saw me just waiting all this time. And she's like, you know, I get that you're waiting for something, but this is still time. You could be preparing for something, anything else.
Of course.
Other moments where something similar happened. I remember looking at some band playing at, like, what's the huge stadium? I won't say like Wembley or something.
In London?
Yes, like the super stage. So we're watching them do this amazing show. I think it was Muse. And I'm looking at it and I'm like, I want to do that. Why can't I be up there? And she's like, if they called you right now and you got to go stage, are you ready to play that? And I was like, dang, I'm not ready to play that.
Oh, wow.
And then I thought about that. I'm like, I can get ready though. Like, why am I not ready? Like, I can get ready. And then that kind of plays into the whole thing about luck. It's like, if you're just always ready, then anytime opportunity hits, you don't have to prepare for it. You've been preparing for it. You know, like if somebody signs you up to do something, you're not over here trying to figure out how to play the song. You're figuring out what song to play. You already know
exactly because You've already, you've prepared yourself for any moment. So if someone knocks on your door in 20 minutes and says, hey, Nelson, like, we're outside, we want you to perform. And you're like, okay, here, I'm ready. Let's do it.
And see, like to this day, I get this question a lot. Like, how do you choose your set list? You know, when I'm at like a 3 hour gig or something, and they're like, you know, you took like a 10-minute break in 3 hours. Like, you played a lot of music. How did you, like, did you have this? And I'm like, to be honest, I have no idea what I'm going to play next. I always have at least 3, maybe 4 hours of music just memorized because I don't know what I'm going to need or when I'm going to need it or in what instance. And so, and that's something that I got from that advice. Like, I don't know what I'm going to need. I like having all this stuff. I like playing music, but having that kind of stuff just memorized, I could walk down the street, witness a guitarist just, I don't know, get hit by a meteor or something. And then all this,
I hope that doesn't happen. We're living in crazy times.
like his vocal cords just give out. Okay, they need somebody. Nobody has to. His vocal cords give out, and I have my guitar up, and they're like, "Hey, can you fill in?" Yeah, I'm ready.
You're ready. You're ready to go.
I have everything that I need. Like, I don't need to do a rehearsal or anything else. Like, I'm good. I might need to like warm up, but past that, you know, we're good to go.
Yeah.
Yeah. That advice has served me my entire life. All of the biggest things that have ever happened to me are direct causations of being ready every time.
Yeah, and I think it can only do good things for you in your life when you're always ready and you're always ready for the next best thing, because you just never know when that's going to pop up. Like, I'm sure you didn't wake up that morning and think, oh my God, we're going to the convention center and I'm going to be auditioning for The Voice. Like, because I think anybody else that would be in that situation would be like, okay, Tuesday morning, you know, I'm going to go audition for The Voice and I'm nervous and I can't breathe and I'm sweating and I'm this, but you didn't really have time to be nervous because you were just thrown into it and you just rocked it. And here we are. And, you know, Stevie played with you, John Legend, all 4 voice judges turned those chairs. And that's such a huge honor for these legends to see that talent within you. And it's so incredible. So, Nelson, we're approaching the hour mark because you and I both love to talk. I have like 3 more questions for you and you still have to perform for us. So let's do this. We're going to cut this short because at an hour, it cuts us off. So we're going to end this.
Okay.
And then it's 3:57 Eastern Standard Time. We're going to reconvene at 4:05. Does that work for you?
4:05. I'll be here. That works.
4:05. Get a quick drink, do your thing. I just don't want to rush this because this is a good conversation and you still have to perform for us.
Well, let's do it.
Okay, cool. So everyone, it's 3:58 Eastern Standard Time. We are coming back to continue this conversation at 4:05. Nelson, 4:05. I will see you at 4:05.
See y'all.
Okay, see you soon. Bye-bye.